We start the meeting, call to order 7 o'clock, 7:01. The first order of business is the minutes of August 4th, 2020 for the Permanent Building Committee. Do I have here a motion?
I move that we approve the August 4th, 2020 minutes as written.
Second, anyone?
Yes.
Second.
All right, Chris, Callahan, second it. Any discussion?
Nope.
Seeing no discussion, is there any opposition to approving the minutes?
Nope.
Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Anthony,
Yes.
why don't you take over from here on the Greenwood School? Let's go through the invoices first, and then we'll talk about the status. All right?
Okay. Do you want to go PMA, Gail, and then Greenwood Industries?
And either one's fine by me.
Okay. Do you want me to just explain the amounts and what they're for?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one we'll do PMA. So I don't have a screen share here, but I hope you have all the document. But
We do. Everybody should have it. Everybody got it?
Yep.
it's just for our services for the month of July of 2020 for the amount of $8,836. And, well within our CA budget. I think our CA budget was $74,000. So well under that cap, and the same thing will happen for August. But that's the amount for July of 2020, $8,836.
So can you just do one favor when we move forward? Can you, on your invoice, can you put paid to date, what invoices and what's remaining?
Absolutely, for sure. No problem with that.
That would be great. Then we don't have to ask the question every time.
Absolutely, no worries. Absolutely.
Do you know what's
Any
remaining
discussion on
after
the
this?
PMA?
I don't know the exact amount, Chip, but I did check with my accountant. Can pull it up real quick if you don't mind.
Well, no, you don't have to. What have we paid you? 3 months, 4 months?
Well, we were
This
paid
is,
our initial. It kind of goes back to we were paid our $15,000 for SD, and then call it $8,000 for bidding, and then this is the $8,000 for the first month of CA.
This is invoice number 9.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're well within our budget, Chip.
Oh, no, I'm sure of that, but I'm just, how many more months do you expect to keep going?
August will be another CA month. September will be probably similar to July, and then October will, October, November, December should be pretty short. It's going to involve just construction closeout items and then closeout with the MSBA, so a couple hours here and there. So nothing crazy.
Okay, great. Thank you. I move that we approve PMA's bill, invoice number 9 for the sum of $8,836.
Any discussion?
You have a second too.
Oh, sorry. So you're going to have a second on this, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Boy, there's always a critic. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll just do a roll call. Chip,
Yes?
Chris,
Yes.
Janine,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Tom.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Anthony?
All right. So we'll move on to Gail Associates. So again, this is their invoice number 9 in the amount of $11,202.51. It's for Gail's CA fee for the month of July of 2020.
And again, do we know where they stand?
Yes. So they've, I still have to vet it, but essentially they're right up to their budget. And with some of the issues they've run into with the contractor, they think they've incurred some additional fees, to which they sent over to PMA for review yesterday. But we're not presenting that tonight because it has to get vetted through us and all that. And then we have to make we have to talk privately to Gail and Greenwood and then make a recommendation to Joe in the town.
Right.
They're not
just
trying- they're not
remind them
trying-
that this was a fixed sum job.
They claim that they've had to have extra site visits and extra asbestos abatement issues, et cetera.
Hey,
And it
not our issue.
not it's not going to be an issue until the next meeting at least.
Yeah, okay. I
Like
mean,
like I said,
I think they just need to back it up fairly well.
we'll make sure they do, put it that way. That's why we just received it yesterday. I still have to do my due diligence on it. And like I said, I think some of it's related to more so some of the issues with the contractor, not really the town. So that's why I said, I don't want to speak out of time on it. So it's not vetted yet, but even the additional fee request isn't an absurd amount.
And they're not trying to pass on any of the damage from the leak, right?
No, they
No.
did that. The contractor repaired that completely and will not be invoicing us for that. I can assure
Okay.
you.
Anthony, it's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
The leak was just brought up. Could you mention that we also brought in our own cleaners on behalf of the town and that Greenwood picked that up, I believe, too, the cost of that?
Absolutely. So with teachers kind of popping in and out, us still being in the building, Greenwood had, a professional general cleaning company come in and clean the building, I think last Saturday before teachers came in. Just make sure to get rid of all dust, make things look good. That way they felt comfortable coming in. And then part of PMA, we do some indoor air quality testing. So we had an indoor air quality agency out last Tuesday, I believe, and do an indoor air quality assessment on dust, organic compounds, stuff like that. And everything was under recommended levels. But we did that, with everything going on, we want to make sure there's no hysteria and that everyone's comfortable coming into the building as we wrap up.
Did you share that with Bob?
I did. Yep. I sent that to Bob and Doug.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Chris, we have it.
Okay, I just know that's been a hot topic, so.
Yeah,
The school superintendent paid us a visit, and after a discussion with him, we thought it best that we get a professional cleaner in there. Anthony made arrangements with people we're working with in Saugus and Somerville to come in on the Saturday, and then belts and suspenders in case of the teachers union. But Bob needed that backup from a hygienist.
Great.
Are there any questions on Gail's invoice? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve Gail's invoice for the sum of, invoice number 9 for the sum of $11,202.51.
Second,
Second from Chris. Chip,
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Janine,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay.
Who was the motion in the second there? Sorry, I missed that. Trying to catch
Chris
up on-
Callanan.
Chris was
Motion,
Motion from Chip Tarbell.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then,
You left me out, Joe, but I'll say yes anyhow.
Jason, I'm sorry. You were in California, so what the hell, you don't count.
You got enough yeses anyhow. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, Jason.
That's right.
I'm trying to read the list and it moves all the time, so I can't.
It's okay.
okay, so that's
All
it
right,
for
Anthony.
That's it for Gail as well. Just one invoice for each company. And then the contractor, Greenwood Industries, again, this is for their July 2020 invoice amount. It's for the amount of $270,921. Again, you can look at their total contract value of roughly $863,000. So through July 2020, roughly a quarter of the way there, which is probably correct. A lot of it's mobilization materials, ordering stuff like that, and then work in
Now,
place.
I'm looking at work completed this period, and it says 285,180.
Yep. So we hold 5% for retainage.
Okay. So what's the number?
It's $270,921.
Even?
Yep.
Any
It's the,
discussion?
Chip, if
Anybody
you're
have any
looking at it,
questions
it's
on that?
item 8.
All right, seeing no questions, Chip, or you want to make?
I move that we approve the July requisition for Greenwood and Associates to the sum of $270,921.
second,
Any further discussion? All right, Chip,
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
Jason, gotcha.
Yep.
Tim,
Yes.
Janine, Janine,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Tom.
Yes.
Anthony, could you now give us the status of the Greenwood, where we're at and what is left?
Absolutely. Do you want to, Joe, do we want to do the contracts for peer consultants first for the hazmat monitoring, or do we want to do that after?
Let's do that after.
Okay. So construction update. So we'll start kind of break it out as to what the project is, the roof scope, and then the accessibility scope. So for the roof scope, as of today, all of the membrane is down in the field and the corners and the perimeters. The only remaining roofing scope right now, which is ongoing, is the ACM caulking removal between the existing concrete parapet cap at the roof. That started yesterday, is going to continue all week. Once that is done, they're going to start bringing up the membrane over new plywood on the inside roof edge, lap that over, and then close it off with sheet metal trim work. So from there, once the sheet metal trim work is done, the only remaining scope on the roof will be the gravity vents, which are, I believe, due to be delivered to the site sometime in October. And then Greenwood has stated they'll come in on a Saturday and plop those in. It's just removing the existing ones out and plopping the new ones in with a crane. They're all pre-manufactured when they get to site.
So how far behind schedule are they really? Some feels like 2 weeks.
It's kind of, depends how you shake it out. So 8/21's technically their, which is August 21st, is technically their, you call it substantial completion date. Now they're disputing the gravity vent work. No, the architect's gone on record thinking that they own it. So you could technically tie them to that whenever the gravity vents are completed, as that's when you're complete. But Kevin can kind of talk to more about substantial completion. But if the town has usage of the building and the building usage is not affected by the gravity vents, you're also technically substantially complete. So it's a little wish-washy on that. But once the roof edge work is complete with the metal trim, that really is the remaining roof and scope up there. The gravity vent scope is a 1 to 2 day activity.
Do we require a CO to get back in the building?
I believe so, yeah.
That's a
Go
question we'll have to ask, Anthony. It's a good question. We do require the architect to give us a certificate of substantial completion.
Yeah.
Where the school was, it's a reno and it was occupied. We should work through the inspectional services department to see if they require another inspection, and we can arrange for that if it's required. That's a good question.
Okay.
I don't think you
Just to pick up on
do. I think
Anthony's
you're doing the
assessment.
renovation.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think you do. I think when you're doing the renovation work, as long as they give you substantially complete, I think you can occupy, because technically you occupied it beforehand.
I'm going to agree with you, but I always go to the authority having jurisdiction just to keep everyone on the same page. Trust everyone, cut the cards.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to give you a big issue over it.
No, and the inspectors have been great. They've been there when needed. Plumbing, electrical, building. So far, so good.
Yeah, been great.
And Bob.
And
So,
has-
Joe, to pick up on one thing Anthony said on the issue of substantial completion and the date, we know that they've gone beyond the date, and they'll have an argument as to why. Most of it's self-inflicted, but the bottom line is, like Anthony said, I think everyone here knows the definition loosely of substantial completion and when you can use it for its intended purpose. So I would say that the one thing holding them up right now is the handicap ramp. The bathroom we could operate, the roof is tight, the ventilators won't stop us from occupying, the water fountain is in, but certainly no railings on the handicap ramp is an issue.
And when do we think those railings will be there?
So what they started doing today was putting in temporary railings, which is actually salvaging the old railings, essentially to make sure that the building can be used. But then I believe the new railings are due to site in 2 weeks.
So being on site, observing the work, following the submittals, when we figured out that they weren't going to have the rails on time, just due to the submittal process, and it was rejected once or twice, we made a suggestion to Greenwood that they hang on to those old railings or come up with a scheme to have temporary ones, which they did.
It always amazes me that the miscellaneous metals and railings are an issue on every single job.
Yeah, that and the metal is just a long lead item right now.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Anthony, how about the handicap? Anything else? Anthony?
yep, sorry, Joe, my dog's barking. I don't want to blow up everyone's microphone. So, but so for the accessibility scope, really to touch on it quick, exactly what Kevin just said. The bubbler's in and done. The bathroom's in and done. Really, the only remaining work for the bathroom is installing a lock on the door and putting in the fixtures in there, like the soap dispenser, stuff like that. And then we had the push plate vendor out Monday, so their work is done. The security consultant's coming out Friday to install the AIA phone and the card reader. So once he's here Friday and tests and make sure his stuff works, then that door is working 100% as well. So then at that point, we're pretty much out of the building.
Hey, Chris, can you update us on what are students coming back to the school? And if so, when? Are teachers coming back? What's happening?
Teachers right now are in the midst of 10 days of PD for training on how to, the expectations for remote learning and that kind of stuff. How we're going to be ready to go full remote if we have to, and that kind of stuff. I believe students are back in the building on a phased method. Bob, is it the 18th?
Chris, I'll jump in. So I believe it's the 17th. So the plan is for about the first week, it's going to be kindergarten, freshmen, and then fifth graders, all students starting in new schools. Is a phased approach, so they'd be back for about a week in some special ed kids, and then I believe about the 29th or 30th, everyone else would pretty much come back.
And the elementary schedule is that all kids go 4 days a week. They're just going to go like an AM and a PM session to keep the head count down. Everybody's out of the building all day Wednesday for cleaning in all the schools.
So can we just get confirmation from the building department that there will be no holdups? Like asking your question about an occupancy, or that there's no holdups that they see, or what are they going to be looking for to make sure kids can get back in this? I mean, we have, if we shoot for the 10th to be done, then who really cares how far behind schedule they are, as long as the kids and teachers can get in and it's safe to do so.
Right. And I mean, I guess we're fortunate that the schedule's pushed back a little bit on the reopening schools.
All right, Anthony, could you give us a little detail on the ramp that's an issue?
Yep. And Kevin, you could probably jump in here too on the exact notching issues, but the ramp was installed. I'll put it in quick layman's term, not as shown on the drawings. So then the structural engineer came out, took a review, issued a non-conformance with corrective actions that the contractor had to take. And then the contractor, I was talking to him today, that all of those corrective actions in that non-conformance letter have occurred. So it's ready for inspection. So assuming that they installed all of the corrective actions that the structural engineer asked for, there should be no issue in regards to getting sign off on that.
So thank you, Anthony. It's Kevin. We were alerted to the structural engineer's concerns through a field report, quite extensive field report. And we all assembled on site, actually got the structural engineer on the phone, and we sent pictures back and forth. And there's really two issues. One is of compliance with the plans. The structural engineer had allowed kind of a combination of approving part of the submittal and then referring to the contract drawings to say, do this on the contract drawings, do this on the submittal. We bridged that gap, but then there were some issues that we identified in the field that were not in compliance. But upon further investigation, in my opinion, it was a constructability issue. Not all of the issues, but there were a few that were constructability. So we worked with the structural engineer to say, yeah, we appreciate your letter and understand that you can't send an affidavit of service until it complies, but you need to work with us for a correction so that it can comply. So we've gotten there. We have a sketch that's been issued with 4 general notes of corrective action. Some as simple as remember to fill all the hangers and holes, make sure all the hangers are there. But we did have a tolerance issue where we have 6x6 posts with 2 2x8 stringers that's bolted, fastened with washers and a bolt. And when you stack the tolerance, the structural engineer didn't want the posts cut more than halfway. Well, in some cases, that's physically impossible when you take in the nominal width of a 2x8, 2 washers and a bolt. So the structural engineer had to work with us to direct the contractor on how to do that. So we do have a corrective sketch. I'll be on site tomorrow to check it, and again on Thursday. It should be complete on Friday, and we'll ask the engineer to do another inspection so we can sign off.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, Anthony, you want to do the pier, the asbestos abatement issue?
So, not really an issue, more so, I would say just, I'm gonna call it a contract proposal acceptance on, that the town needs to vote on. So, in Gail's fee with peer consultants, really what peer owned was kind of submittal review, putting together the drawings with Gail, et cetera. So we hadn't bought out the hazmat monitoring itself. So back in, call it project funding agreement with MSBA, we put in a $15,000 test and inspections line item for items like this. So there's 2 scopes of work that peer is looking to get approved, 2 separate proposals technically. One is for the interior ACM monitoring scope and one's for the exterior. The interior ACM monitoring scope is simply just traditional abatement of some floor mastic beneath some tiles. So that was required for the new bubbler going in on the building, and then also the new entryway coming out of the classroom where the handicap ramp is. And that was for the amount of $970. And then the second monitoring scope is on the exterior, which is what's going on right now, is the caulking between the concrete parapet joints. Part of the contractor's plan to abate that as a non-traditional work plan, because you can't abate it traditionally. So they submit that plan to the DEP with recommendations. The DEP comes back with notes or approval. And part of that plan was to have a full-time hygienist on site monitoring the conditions. And the amount of that scope is for $3,650.
Any questions?
Joe, this is Kevin. We compared that scope of work and cost against all our other projects and find it to be right in line, if not less than other projects.
And we have a $15,000 line item against it?
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's
Okay.
a budget line item for, you know, the indoor air quality, the concrete testing, for the sonotubes, for the ramp, the hazmat, stuff like that. So we did budget for that back in, call it February, at SD approval with MSBA.
And you feel that with all the other testing that's gonna have to come out, that we're still okay in that line item?
Yes,
Yes.
we should absolutely be fine. Yeah. We should come in under budget on that line item.
Yeah, I'll remind you of that at the end of the project.
Any other questions? I hear a
I move-
motion.
I move that we approve peer, the contract for peer consulting to the sum of $970 for the interior work and $3,650 for the exterior work.
No, it's just for 3,650, isn't it, Anthony?
So it's 2 proposals, Joe. The initial one's the inside
Okay.
work, which Chip is right, 970, and then the
All right.
outside work is the 3,650.
All right, because the 3,650 is broken up, and that's why I thought it was that one. Okay.
Okay,
So
so
there's
second,
two budgets.
I should note, by the way, that budget for the exterior is for 5 days worth of work, because that's what the contractor said it would take to get done. Obviously, if it extends a day or two, they have the same unit rate. I think it's, you know, $550 per day. But again, we do have that money in that budget for that reason.
For the hygienist, right?
Yes, for the hygienist, exactly.
There's second?
Chris is on mute, so I'll second it.
second,
Thank you, Jason. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, Chip,
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Janine,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Tom.
Yes.
All right, anything else in the Greenwood?
quick question. When, at a Thursday meeting, will we be able to do a walkthrough? When can people walk through, guys? What's your feeling on that?
Bob? Is anybody allowed in the building?
Yeah, we're letting people in the buildings. So whenever you guys want to set up to come through, more than welcome to. Just let me know.
Anthony, are they still having the Thursday 10 o'clock meetings?
Yep, we'll have those going for it at least for the next month, I'd say.
Okay.
So no issue on our end. Like I said, the inside work's 99% done. It's right there. The roof work, might want to avoid going up there while they're doing some ACM removal, but maybe sometime in, a week or two from now, we can all go up there.
Yeah, I'd just like to see it before the students come back,
Yep. No issue at all, Chip.
like around the 10th or so, maybe next Thursday.
That's perfect.
I can join you on that one, Chip.
Any other questions on the Greenwood? All right. Thanks, Anthony. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
The next is the public safety building. Just to give you an update on that, there was a site visit for the owners, project managers this morning at 10 o'clock at the public safety building. There were 12 participants that were there, and essentially it was a brief introduction, and then Chief Scory gave some of the slideshow of the issues that are there. The OPMs of applications are due on the 15th of September. I believe I'm looking at scheduling a meeting on the 17th. We're going to have to then pare the applicants down. We'll have to see how many there are. And then we will discuss how many we'll do that, pare it down on the 17th, and then probably have the interviews for the Zoom interviews, I guess, on the week after that.
Joe, I don't mean to be a pain, but how are we going to get from let's say there are 10 for a round number that come in. How are we going to get the 10 applications to everybody by the 17th for review?
We're not going to be able to review them all if we have that many. That's what I'm saying. We're going to have a meeting on the 17th, mostly to deal with the invoices. If we have a lot of applications,
I think we're going to.
I think we are too. There are 17 companies have already pulled the papers on the central registry.
Right. No, I'm just saying if we get 10 OPMs that send their information back,
Right.
we then have to send those out to everybody on the committee.
Correct.
They have to rate them.
Well, they have to pick who they want to have interviewed. The rating system is for the interview part.
Correct, but we have to come up with some sort of process
Criteria, yeah.
to determine who we're going to interview.
Right, and that's what I thought we'd do on it.
Who you and I like.
Yeah, then we're going to have to do that I wanted to do that on the 17th. Once
But
we
how
get
will
them and see
people
how
be
many
able,
we have.
so what I'm asking is how will people be able to do that if they haven't seen the applications?
They're going to get them.
How?
I'm going to have the police deliver them.
I mean, is that what's going to happen to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're bringing in.
That's what I'm asking.
They're bringing in 15 proposals. They have to apply. They have to bring in 15 proposals that when they submit it on the 15th. There's going to be 15 copies of it, and then I'm going to talk to the chief and have him. See if he can deliver them.
Collate. He's going to collate and get them to all our houses.
Right. It's all going to the DPW office.
Is there a reason they can't be
DPW
sent?
will distribute them?
I'm sorry.
Why can't they be sent electronically?
Yeah,
Why are we
can't
why are we
do
killing
it
so
via
many
email?
trees?
I know.
This is a good point. You could do a amendment or
Still
addendum.
send email
I
to
asked
everyone else.
that as well.
Yep. So much paper.
A lot of paper.
We've been seeing that, and we're, when we go out for that.
Do it. I have to do that. I asked them to do it with email, but that's not happening. So
Okay.
we're gonna have to go the old-fashioned way here.
Will the alternates get copies of these, or just the permanent members of the committee?
The alternates will get a copy, and we'll have a say in who gets chosen for interview and for the rating process.
And that's nice of you, Joe. I thought we were going to make Phil just watch.
Well, I said, some alternates, I should say. Then we'll let Phil watch.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so there's 15 copies. We also, the police have proposed a advisory committee, and they're going to be involved in it as well.
Mhm.
And that advisory committee has to be approved by town council whenever they meet prior to the 15th. I don't know when they're meeting to be.
But they're not going to be involved in picking the OPM.
They're going to be, yeah, they're according to they're not going to have
They don't have a vote, but they
Correct.
can comment, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
Yep.
I guess that's the best way to putting it.
Yeah.
They don't have a vote, but they're going to review it review the applications, just as everyone will.
It's fine.
So Joe, do you think it's feasible that that's all going to happen in 2 days?
No, because if we get as a lot as I suspect, we have to meet in 2 weeks because we have to deal with some other invoices from the Greenwood. All right, and the extra work that Gail wants, and there's just going to be other issues that we have to deal with. And I thought at that time it might make sense for us to have a discussion about how we rate them, how many we expect for an interview. So we'll have you should have a general idea how many we've got, and a general idea, but obviously not going to be not studying it in depth. Okay,
Mhm.
does that
So
make sense?
we should probably then have a meeting on the 22nd as well to keep that moving forward quickly.
Correct. We'll have a meeting then the week after that. Yeah.
Okay, so we should
22nd
probably
or the 24th, whatever.
probably post a couple meetings, right?
Yeah. I think that made sense and if we get 3 applications, then you know what I mean?
Then we interview 3 people. But we're
Right.
not going to get 3.
I don't think so. Not when 12
We're
showed
gonna
up for
get
the site
7
visit
to
and
10 is
17.
my bet.
Yeah, I think there's going to be quite a lot. All right. Any other questions regarding that?
Like, how many applicants have you got in the past for, the Walton or other big projects?
We've gotten anywhere between 7 and 12,
Gotcha.
and we've narrowed it down for 3 for interviews, and then we've picked one.
Right.
So what we did with the 7 to 10 is everybody ranked them 1 to 10, correlated them, and saw if everybody, if somewhere in the top 3 kind of made a statement. So.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to have to do, and it's going to be hard doing it by Zoom because we're going to have to be rating them and then emailing the
People will
numbers to
probably
me
have
and
to
everything.
send me or,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we'll say what the results were. Because then nobody here, they can talk about it, but send their top 3, discuss it, so that we know what the numbers are. And then it may be a quick discussion. Here's everybody's top 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we could all bring lawn chairs to the circle like the Italian guys and just sit around on the, up by the lake.
Yeah, but then we'd have to swear and spit at people walking or running by.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, they're the most unbelievable group anyway. Sorry, I'll get back on the rails.
All right. Any other questions regarding
It's
the
all from
OPM?
August.
This is a real fun committee. It's pretty good.
I'm glad you like it, Wayne.
Yeah.
We keep it light.
So Joe, they're doing the 10th, and they're doing the
On
10th.
the 15th.
They're doing the 15th. Okay,
Yeah. They're doing it
They're
15
done
to
here on
like
17th.
1 o'clock.
okay, got it.
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then the DPW will let me know how many there are. I'm going to talk to the chief to see if he's able to have everybody delivered the the.
Could
you
they
know, the-
please come in a plain clothes to my house? I don't.
Oh, no, when the cops show
Oh,
up
no,
at the
no, no.
door,
No.
tell your wife you're getting arrested.
Well,
Come on.
Chip, you're used to it. Don't worry.
The neighbors will just say again.
Like, we know that address.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we'll do. And if there's, if anybody has any trouble, I'll, offer free legal services for the. All right. Anything else on the public safety building? Any other questions?
No.
All right. The next thing is just looking at the status, the high school, there is some kind of enrollment discussion with MSBA on September 8th. So the process is going on to the next step slowly as it goes. Obviously, probably we're talking the November town meeting where there may be a vote for feasibility dollars for a feasibility study, but that hasn't been determined yet.
Joe, I think we have to have the vote per MSBA per the timeline before December 25th or December 27th
Yeah, something like that.
for phase
So
one.
it won't be in the November town meeting.
That's what the plan is, so I assume it's still going to happen.
Hey, Joe, do you know what the timeline is on the boat construction? When are they starting construction on that school?
I do not.
I was just curious. Anyone, Bob, do you know?
I think they already selected an OPM and an architect.
I can let you know, guys, if you want, where PMA is the OPM on it.
Yeah,
That's right. You guys already selected an architect, right, Anthony?
Yeah, we did that actually last January. So right now we're I'm going to call it the middle of the feasibility study. So we just did our first major milestone submission to the MSBA last month, which is the PDP. So we're moving into the PSR phase. So PDP, long story short, you say, all right, from 16 options, different projects with different enrollments, we want to dwindle it down to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Then from PDP to PSR, so when you submit the PSR, you go from 10 options to here's the option that we want to go forward with. So the VOC's in the middle of that.
Okay.
I would say the VOC is from construction, assuming they ever got the vote, because obviously that's a big milestone for the vote. They'd go out to vote next fall, and you'd probably be looking at construction fall of 22.
Wow.
You might do some early enabling work, but
Mhm.
that's probably the fast track.
Who
Or
is the architect on that?
Drami Roseanne Anderson. They're based out of Waltham.
Where are they out of?
Waltham.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
No problem.
All right, and lastly, any other questions in the high school? Lastly, the DPW facility, DPW garage. Joe Conway sent me a list of his proposed advisory committee, and that is going to the next town council meeting as well, in which it will be approved. We then can start soliciting for a feasibility study for the DPW garage. Once that has been started, we have that already passed town meeting, and we have I think it's 100,000 for that particular feasibility study.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So the next meeting will be the 17th of September.
That's a Thursday, right?
It's a Thursday, 7 o'clock. We'll discuss. We'll see how many we have at that time. Once we know, once I get any more information, I'll send an email out to everybody as to how many there are. But then we'll discuss on the 17th the process that we're going to go forward with to choose the OPM.
Sounds
All right.
All right.
And you said there's other invoices and stuff to do that night?
Yeah, Greenwood has. Gail has that extra work invoice that we're going to have to deal with. But I don't think
What one's that, Joe?
Gail claims to have extra site visits. And
and they think that PMA will have something vetted by then to say.
correct. Over their original
Yeah.
proposal, but I looked at it yesterday. We got it yesterday and they sent me a copy, but Anthony and them haven't looked at it yet. And they're going to be looking at it and vetting it.
Just out of curiosity, how much dollars are we talking about?
7,000.
So not a crazy amount.
No.
No, and like I said, we need to vet it too. And to be honest, I think some of it's on the contractor anyways. Like a good example is, call it 2,000 of it is the back and forth on the ACM submittal review, which was holding up a lot of their schedule, which is all on them really. Their subcontractor really dropped the ball. But again, it's stuff like that we need to, PMA needs to discuss with Gail and Greenwood separately, before we make any type of, here's PMA's opinion to the town,
Yeah, appreciate.
Was there a lot of RFIs on the project?
No, actually, there was probably 4, maybe. One we ran into that kind of unforeseen ceiling framing type of stuff in the bathroom. Oh, hold on, sorry. We ran into the ceiling conflict. There was an RFI on the gravity vents, an RFI on, I think we have to build a doghouse enclosure around the existing gas meter, but nothing crazy, like I said. And the only change order we've seen to date from the contractors for those gravity vents, there's been some added scope they just haven't charged for. But Gail's position on the ACM submittal was, there was 5 submittals until it got accepted. And, the expectation's really 1 or 2, which again, that's more so on the contractor than the town. But that again goes back to PMA having a discussion with Greenwood and Gail.
Yeah, is there contract language in the submittals regarding back and forth like that?
No.
No.
Again, I have to talk to Kevin. I think that's something we could probably force onto the contractor or backcharge the contractor out of. But like I said, I want to vet it fully, look at the amount of site visits they did, look what they own in their contract fully. I did a preliminary review, but I want to spend some serious time on it. And then not to mention really forecast with Gail, how many site visits do we really more need? Because if it's, the last thing I want to do is, here's 3 and that up, we need 5, or here's 3 and we only needed 1. So before we make a recommendation, I want to get that squared away with Greenwood and Gail, so more coordination on that effort.
All right. Anything else? Right here.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.
See you
Bye.
next Tuesday, or
See you on the
2
17th.
weeks from now.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.